Throughout the history of television, there have often been US versions of UK TV shows and vice versa. Mostly they've been pretty awful. Red Dwarf, Peep Show, The Golden Girls, they all had been exchanged like foreign students and had mostly been terrible enough not to make it past a pilot or a first series. One I wanted, and it's never too late, is a UK Dukes of Hazzard. Swap out the rednecks in a muscle car for chavs in a souped-up Peugeot 306. Switch out jumping over swamps using broken jetties with spinning donuts in an Audi car park. And change Daisy Duke's jean shorts with a swollen cellulite-ridden bottom squeezed into a pair of jeggings. And I think we've got the makings of a great show. Yeah? No. The Dukes of Hazzard was an action comedy that aired on CBS from 1979 until 1985, broadcast on BBC One in the UK during that time. The show followed the adventures of Bo and Luke Duke, who reside in Hazzard County, Georgia, with Uncle Jesse, a sort of deliverance version of Santa Claus. And let's not, of course, forget cousin Daisy Duke. That's Daisy Duke, not Daisy Duck. Daisy Duck doesn't wear pants. Daisy Duke does, and she wears them well. They were so small you could barely tell what was loose denim threads and what was a tampon string. That's how good those shorts were. The boys drove around in a 1969 Dodge Charger, otherwise known as the General Lee. The boys regularly run foul of corrupt Commissioner Boss Hogg and his stooge Patrolman Roscoe P. Coltrane for various misdemeanours like transporting moonshine, breaking curfew and hauling a big old potentially racist flag on the roof. Dukes was a massive hit, swapping places with Dallas as the number one top-rated show in the US during its run. Uncomplicated, funny and action-packed, Dukes was a top show for those young and old. But it wasn't without its controversy either. Main Bo and Luke actors Tom Wopat and John Schneider decided to leave the show in the 5th series due to a pay dispute, with the pair replaced by new cousins Coy and Vance Duke. Coy and Vance proved to be about as popular as slugs on a Five Guys burger, and they were swapped back out for the newly minted original actors, even before the 5th series had actually ended. Famous for writing off 300 Dodge Chargers due to the hefty damage of the many stunts, Dukes came to an ignominious end in 1985 with a series that featured the Jump the Shark episode, Strange Visitor in Hazzard, where the boys encounter and befriend an alien. Yes. The show was popular enough to get one of those subpar 2000s movie adaptations with Johnny Knoxville and Sean William Scott filling the Duke boy roles, and famous intellectual heavyweight Jessica Simpson very ably filling out those Daisy Dukes. Look, a bum! There are also, and I had no idea about this until very recently, two PlayStation 1 games based upon the original Dukes of Hazzard IP. Not the movie, the original TV show. The footage of the Dukes of Hazzard game there, the first one, is being played by Douglas Titchmarsh. Now, Douglas Titchmarsh is a man with a fantastic games room and a very understanding wife. These two things are usually hand in hand with each other, as I'm sure you'll understand. I discovered Dukes of Hazzard on the PlayStation 1 through Douglas Titchmarsh, describing it as one of his most favourite nostalgic memories of the PlayStation 1 system. You can see that video with the link provided. Go and have a look. He's a lovely bloke. He's got a great channel. He's very self-deprecating, which is always going to warm him to me. Now, where did I leave that Spectrum game? Oh yes, there it is, right there, sitting there. Hello. Elite Software, much like the previous episode on the Fall Guy, clasped the rights to the Dukes of Hazzard game close to their chest and then scurried off to the corner to devour them, taking the Duke boys from the small screen to the small screen in 1985 for the Commodore 64 and the ZX Spectrum. The plot? Well, Boss Hogg is getting impatient waiting for the Swamp Cousins to give him the $5,000 that they owe him. And so he is threatening to take away their beloved orange race hate mobile as a way to satisfy his middle-aged midlife crisis. Fortunately, miraculously, the illegally run annual Hazzard cross-county road race is coming up, and there is a first prize award of $5,000. Boy, that's handy. So the boys decide to enter the race and hopefully win that lovely mullah and get Boss Hogg off their back. He's a very heavy fat man after all. The Fuzz, though, they catch wind of this scheme, and Boss Hogg instructs Coltrane to stop the boys winning the race at all costs. And that leads to a game that consists of a hygiene deficient raccoon eating duo racing along this straight 2D road, avoiding all manner of other road users with various amounts of teeth and sister wives. Also, there's an attack helicopter, which seems like something Boss Hogg might have trouble explaining when he submits the police expenditure report to central government. Graphically, it's bright and colourful with a decent bit of flip animation on the car when it encounters issues of a crashing kind. They're probably dead in there, aren't they, after that? Gee, Martha, get your legs open, we need another pair of cousins. The gameplay is curious. In terms of how it plays, it's closest in design to that old classic Moon Buggy. Only the craters and mines from that game have been replaced by poorly educated woodland men rapists on various agricultural equipment. You can change lanes, hurl dynamite, and even perform a leap that is extremely difficult to pull off successfully. The most curious design choice is the controls. I don't drive because my brain is prone to wander off on tangents about terrapins and why dogs' penises look like lipsticks. So even if I passed a test, it wouldn't be too long before a poor old granny had become an extremely unwitting speed bump. Despite my lack of driving knowledge, I'm fairly sure that accelerator pedals don't operate like a pump. In Dukes of Hazzard, you have to hammer the accelerator key like a redneck hammering a rabbit's skull in preparation for Rabbit and Democrat voting city boy pie. It's a terrible choice, really, extremely unnecessary. Also, the random nature of the enemy generation can squish you into a few inevitable situations where the General Lee will crash and there's not a lot you can do about it. It is a situation not aided by a collision detection that's variable at best, and this isn't aided by some unresponsive moments when you're trying to weave between the intellectually challenged denizens of Hazzard County, Georgia. Reviews for Dukes were mixed. Your Sinclair precursor, your Spectrum, didn't rate it at all, with 2 1 out of 5 scores and 1 2 out of 5 scores. They declared that it lacks the precision of control necessary for exciting crash bang wallop driving stuff, and it's just not funny enough. In fairness, the game doesn't really try to be funny, so I'm not sure what Roger here is on about. A curious piece of criticism there. Crash arrived at a 63 degrees consensus for the vehicular tribulations of the rule-breaking redneck roustabout, stating that the game has great graphics but not much game. C and VG complete the review roundup with a 7 out of 10. Hazzard fans, they state, will enjoy the game. The rest of you should take a look at the demo first. What do I think? It's fine. I could have enjoyed it a bit more if it had spent a bit longer in the developmental oven and they'd ironed out those minor issues that unfortunately contribute to a bigger problem overall. And that's your lot for today. Dukes of Hazzard, it needed a bit of Duke care and attention, but it's generally pretty average. Do you see what I did there? You did, and you're probably unsubscribing. Okay, thanks, bye. I'll see you again.